Hey guys, in this video, we're going to be looking at how to answer the multiple choice question type. So let's take a look. This is what our multiple choice question looks like. Now, when I say multiple choice, I'm talking about our standard multiple choice questions. Now, you are going to see many different variations of multiple choice questions later in this course, but right now, I'm just talking about the standard multiple choice question, which is probably the question type that you're most used to. So in the standard multiple choice question, you have 3 or 4 options. And for each one of these questions, you have to pick the correct answer. So with standard multiple choice question, there's only going to be one correct answer. There are other variations of multiple choice questions where you can have 2 or 3 correct answers, but that is going to be a different question type, and we're going to talk about those question types later in this course. So this is what our standard multiple choice question looks like, and the way that you identify this question type is by reading up here. It tells you that you have to choose the correct letter. So there's only one correct letter. A, B, C, or D. These questions always go in order, and as you can see from the green dot here, they are rather simple to do. Here's a bit of explanation about this question type. These questions always go in order, you already know that now, and that they are easy to do. So naturally, if you see these questions, then you should do them first. Now, just like most of our question types, this question type is also formed from only 1 to 2 sentences in the reading passage. That means that the correct answer is going to be found in just 1 or maybe 2 sentences in the reading passage. So you don't have to read a bunch of stuff to find the correct answer. You only have to find the right 1 to 2 sentences. Now this is the general skill that you're going to be needing across all the different question types, and you already know this by now, but you have to be able to scan for keywords and you have to be able to understand the synonym language, because when you are looking for keywords in the reading passage, you are not going to find exact keywords, not most of the times, so you have to look for synonyms of those keywords. Now let's go over the basic strategy. Our basic strategy is pretty much the same what you have seen for some of the other question types, so let's run through it really quickly. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to mark the keywords. Keywords are names, places, numbers, etc. Next, you can put a check mark next to the easy questions so you know which ones to do first. After that, you have to look for these keywords. You have to look for the keywords for the easy questions in the reading passage, and you have to scan the passage to find the keywords or the synonyms for those keywords. Now here's the thing that I want to stress at this point. Once you have found the keywords from the question in the reading passage, then you can go ahead and mark those keywords in the reading passage. But after you have done that, after you have located the keywords from the question, at this point, you need to move on to the next step. The next step is that you have to find the connecting words. What this means is that you have to find the keywords from the answer choices. So in the multiple choice question, you might have 4 different answer choices. And once you have located the keyword for the question, then you have to read around that area to see what other keywords from the answer choices, this time from the answer choices, can you find? Okay, so I'm going to show you more examples of that very soon. Finally, once you have located the keywords and you have located the correct matching sentence, at that point, just answer your question and put the question number next to the place in the reading passage where you have found your answer. Again, you already know why we do this. We do this because the multiple choice question always goes in order. All right, now here's some examples for you. So here is an example in which we have 2 questions. number 19, and number 20. So we're going to be answering these two questions. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to mark the keywords in the question. Okay? We're not marking the keywords in the answer choices just yet. You can kind of read through them. You can kind of have them in the back of your mind. That's all right. But right now, we're mainly focusing on marking the keywords in the question. Okay? So in these questions, I see that our keywords are theory, Louis Dollo. So that's going to be really easy to find. That's a proper noun, Louis Dollo, and silent genes. So those are our keywords, and the next thing that you have to do after marking the keywords is you have to identify which of these questions is going to be easy to solve. Now in this case, out of these two questions, I would say that number 19 is probably easier to solve because it has a proper noun. But actually, both these questions are pretty easy. I mean, it's going to be quite easy for us to look for silent genes, okay? So actually, both of these questions are pretty easy. Both of these contain these easy keywords. Okay, so I've just put a check mark next to both of them because if you have several questions, because you're not going to have just two questions in a question set, usually you're going to have more than two, like 3 or 6 or something like that. So that's why I've went ahead and marked both of them. Now let's go ahead and start off by answering question number 19. So let's read this question. The question says, when discussing the theory developed by Louis Dollo, the writer says that... Okay, so we're trying to find out something that the writer says about the theory developed by Louis Dollo. So what we would do at this point is we would look for these keywords that we marked before. So we marked these keywords in the question. Now we're going to go to our reading passage and we're going to start scanning the reading passage to look for this keyword. So that's quite easy to find. We've already found it right here. It appears at the start of this paragraph. So there's our keyword, Louis Dollo. So now that I have found my keyword in the question, at this point, it makes sense to start looking at these other keywords because now I'm going to go back to my answer choices and I'm going to read some of these keywords. So here I have something about Dollo's law. Here I have something about evolution. Here I have something about biology and 20th century. And here I have something about research. So at this point, I'm going to be scanning around this area to see what other keywords from the answer choices can I find. I've already found my keyword from the question, but now that I have already found the keyword from the question, now I want to check for the keywords from the answer choices to find out which one of these answer choices is going to be the correct answer. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so I see something about evolution here, and it talks about evolution here as well. Let's keep scanning, see if we can find something else. There we go, early 20th century. So that one is over here, option C, early 20th century. It also says biologists. So C also mentions biologists. All right, anything else? So those are all the keywords that I have found so far. I found evolution here. I also see evolution here. And I see early 20th century and I see biologists. So I'm pretty sure my answer is going to be somewhere around here. Remember, we are only looking for 1 to 2 sentences. That's going to be our matching sentence. So let's start reading. I want to start reading from over here because this is where our keyword appears. So maybe we're going to find our answer in this one sentence, or maybe we'll have to read an extra second sentence. Let's begin. In 1890, Louis Dollo proposed that evolution was irreversible, that an organism is unable to return even partially to a previous stage already realized in the ranks of its ancestors. So I already know right away that this is not going to be our answer, because when we look at this answer choice related to evolution, what it is saying is that it supported the possibility of evolutionary throwbacks, that it is somehow possible to go back in evolution, somehow move backwards in evolution. See? Throwback. So that is not what this is saying over here at all. It's saying that Louis Dollo proposed that evolution was irreversible, that an organism is unable to return, that you cannot go back. Evolution cannot run backwards. So that's not going to be our answer. So I'm going to keep reading. Let's continue. Early 20th century biologists came to a similar conclusion, though they qualified it in terms of probability, stating that there is no reason why evolution cannot run backwards. It's just very unlikely. Okay, so over here, what it is saying is actually C is the correct answer choice. It says that it was modified by biologists in the early 20th century. What was modified? We're talking about the theory that Louis Dollo developed. That theory was modified by biologists in the early 20th century. So this right here, my friends, is our matching sentence, and that is where we have found our answer. So here we see a mention of early 20th century, we see a mention of biologists, so we know that the answer has to be C, right? Because it could only be either B or C, since we only found keywords for B, which was evolution, and keywords for C, biologists and early 20th century. So it had to be either B or C, and we already eliminated B. It cannot be B because that's not what it says over here. So that is going to be our matching sentence. And one thing that I want to point out is this term right here. Check this out. It says that early 20th century biologists qualified it in terms of probability. Qualified it. Guys, this is synonym language for modified. So they're saying that the early 20th century biologists altered the theory or modified this theory in some way. Okay, so how did they modify it? They modified it in terms of probability. So by probability, they're saying that evolution might be able to run backwards. There is no reason why it cannot run backwards. It's just very unlikely. The probability is very, very low. Okay, so that is synonym language, and so we found our answer. The answer is C. And what are you going to do after you have answered the question? You are going to put a number next to the matching sentence where you found your answer. So we know that we found our answer to number 19 right here. So the answer to number 20 is going to come after this paragraph. So let's take a look at our question number 20 now. So here is question number 20, and you'll remember that silent genes was the keyword from the question that we marked. So when we go back to our reading passage, we are going to be searching for this keyword. We're going to be scanning for silent genes. So let's go ahead and scan for this. Okay, so I see something about genes over here. I see something about genes being switched off. So this could be synonym language for silent genes. And here we go, silent genes. We found the exact keyword in this case. And actually, I expected to find the exact keyword for this particular keyword. The reason is that this keyword is placed in quotation marks. You see those quotation marks? It's placed in quotation marks. That means that it's a very specific terminology. So when you see very specific terminology, then you can expect to find the exact keywords in the reading passage. Awesome. So we found our keyword over here, silent genes. So what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to start looking for keywords from the answer choices. So I'm only looking for the keywords from the answer choices after I have found my keyword from the question. So the keywords from the answer choices are numbers, species, RAF, that should be easy to find, there we go, RAF, term, re-emergence, characteristics, unlimited lifespan. So just have these keywords in the back of your mind. You can go ahead and underline them or circle them if you'd like. If it helps you, go ahead and do that. And we're now going to be looking for these keywords in this area. Let's see which one of these keywords can we find. So we've already found RAF here. And let's see, what else? I see something about long lost traits that can reappear. Long lost traits. This to me is, this right here is synonym language for this. Re-emergence of certain characteristics. Re-emergence means to reappear, to come back. So when we say that long lost traits could reappear, we are saying that long lost traits could re-emerge. Re-emerge, okay? That is synonym language. So in this case, our answer is going to be right here. So this is our matching sentence. And this part right here is synonym language for re-emergence of certain characteristics. I have not really found other keywords. I do see something about Raff here. I can go ahead and read this. Why not? Rudolf Raff and his colleagues reasoned that while evolutionary changes involve the loss of genes and are therefore irreversible, others may be the result of genes being switched off. Does it say anywhere that Raff disagreed with the use of the term? It doesn't, right? In fact, we actually did not even have to read this sentence, because after I found Raff, the next thing that I would do, or that I should have done, is simply scan for disagree or disagreement. And I don't see anything about disagreement here, so I wouldn't even have to read this sentence. So our answer is right here. Our answer is C. So that's the only spot where we have found synonym language that matches up with the synonym language in the reading passage. So now that you've answered the question, just put a number next to it, next to the matching sentence, so that you can answer the rest of the questions if there happen to be more questions in this question set. And that's it. You are now done. I hope that this gave you a good overview of how to answer the multiple choice question type. Now, in the next 2 videos, I want to go over some practice questions with you. So I'll see you there.